Cushman? I recently had an opportunity to send an email, and I just figured I might share that because it may address some of the things that were brought up tonight. In my email, I write, I regret that my comments at the board meetings came across as hateful. I assure you there is no hate in my heart toward you or anyone in the LGBTQ plus community. In bringing this subject up for discussion, my desire is simply to establish guidelines that would ultimately protect all of our youth, regardless of their sexual identity or orientation. At the risk of sounding repetitive, I hope to try to offer a better explanation. Since there are obscenity ratings for DVDs, one would never expect to find X-rated pornographic movies in school libraries. The rating makes it clear that such movies do not belong there. If found in any school library, it is certain movies of this nature would be swiftly challenged and removed, regardless of whether the actors in the film were engaging in heterosexual or homosexual activity. The same should be true of books. However, without such ratings or other guidelines, books that are considered pornographic are making their way into our school and classroom libraries across the nation. I believe it to be a valid concern that these books would be available to any student, regardless of their sexual orientation. Youth may have access to such material through their own personal devices, but when schools make this material available to students, whether through an online platform or hard copy materials, it gives students the impression that the content is valuable and beneficial, and that schools support and encourage it. This leads me to question, should schools encourage and normalize sexual behavior for any youth? Does teaching youth how to download and use sex apps with photos and location enabled, does that contradict the lessons in digital citizenship taught in our schools? How might it put our students at risk? These books open the door to graphic sexual activity. For students who read these books, how would one expect the content to influence student behavior and subsequent interaction with peers? Does it increase the likelihood of engaging in sexual activity? Does it increase their risk regarding online predators? Does it increase the likelihood of sexually transmitted diseases or infections? Does it increase the likelihood of becoming trafficked or being one who purchases sex? Does it increase the likelihood of drug use, drug addiction, or overdose? Does it increase the likelihood that a student will become addicted to pornography? Those last questions regarding drug use, there's actually a study put out that says that youth opioid use is directly linked to sexual risk behaviors. That was by the CDC. And the National Center for Drug Abuse Statistics says drug use increased by 61% among 8th graders between 2016 and 2020. So those to me seem very valid concerns. Regarding the books, it's true. I did provide a list of books in an email and to the policy committee, because when the idea of me wanting to ban books, it's not really what it's about. It's really about defining what's healthy and what's safe for our students. So when people were showing up and talking about banning Mark Twain and Stephen King and Shakespeare, that's off the topic. But I believe that the majority of people in our community are absolutely unaware of the books that are out there and that students have access to in schools across the nation. So, and unfortunately, it's true that the majority of these books happen to be targeted to the LGBTQ plus community. That's unfortunate. It's almost like they're highly sexualized books suggesting to them, perhaps, that the most significant and valuable part of their identity is their sexual orientation. Storylines seem to suggest that sexual activity dominates most of the interactions between this population of youth. Is that really the message that we want to communicate to them? The questions and concerns that I have raised really apply to the safety and health of all of our youth I apologize if it seems I'm targeting a single population, but I speak from a concern for all. And truthfully, I have read This Book is Gay. I would not even read. Perhaps you chose an excerpt that was acceptable, but I would not even read it here at this meeting. It's appalling. It's appalling. If adults want to read the book, that's your prerogative as an adult. But to have books like that available for youth, I would like to protect our schools from having those books even be on the shelves. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Cushman.